l'avenir pour nous.
Mr. Sorbara, and I believe, Minister, you were going to get back to us with an overview of the kind of investments that were made in Bermuda, was it? Or Barbados? Mr. Sorbara.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Bienvenue cet après-midi, Monsieur le Ministre. La mise au point pour notre gouvernement et la classe moyenne, et je suis très content de dire que le taux de croissance économique est très fort pour l'économie canadienne, avec plus de 4% de croissance et plus de 500 000 nouveaux emplois, including many new jobs in my riding of Vaughan Woodbridge. When we entered into office, we brought in the Canada Child Benefit, and I was pleased to see the numbers in my riding of over 16,000 children, 9,000 payments, for a total sum of $4.3 million that are going to families in my riding that need it. Not the millionaires, but actual low and middle income families that need it for their everyday necessities, putting their kids in school. And with that measure, we saw that the Bank of Canada governor noted that the economy was boosted 0.5% with the CCB, and we've indexed it now. Moving on from the CCB to innovation. In Bill C-63, there are measures for clean technology, boosting the Business Development Bank capital in there, and an investment of approximately $1.4 billion in new financing through BDC and EDC to help Canada's clean technologies firms grow and expand. I wanted to get your comments on just how important not only helping middle-class families through the CCB and indexing the CCB, but also through an innovation agenda so we can boost the capacity of our economy to grow. Thank you.
Well, thank you. First of all, just commenting on your starting point in your question, we are clearly seeing the benefits of investing in Canadians. It's quite clear that what we move forward on in terms of putting more money in Canadians' pockets through tax reductions for middle-class Canadians, through an increase in Canada Child Benefits, actually put more disposable income in families' hands. And that has served as an important part of the increased growth that we've seen in our economy. So our plan, which was to have confidence that Canadians would invest in our economy by taking that money and helping their families, has worked. We do know that, as you say, we now also need to be assuring that the long-term future of our country is successful. And that means investing in innovation, in making sure that we have the kind of research and development that's going on that will lead to future success, and that make sure that Canadians have the kinds of skills that they'll need for jobs of the future. So what we saw in Budget 2017 was significant investments in Canadians, in innovation through superclusters, putting universities and leading businesses and small businesses together to find ways for us to create even more advantage in already strong sectors. That'll be our continuing approach, thinking about how we can help with the R&D and how we can prepare Canadians for the jobs of the future. That's going to be how we'll make sure that this success that we've seen is continued for the next generation.
Okay. Thank you. On the issue of tax fairness, we've cut taxes for middle-class Canadians, I think approximately 9 million of them, and raised taxes for our wealthiest 1%. In the last measure we introduced, and I applaud this measure, reducing the small business tax rate to 9%. Firms will benefit up to $7,500 and lower taxes that they can use to invest, grow the economy. And I know my colleague on the other side mentioned about passive investments, but isn't it a fact, Mr. Minister, that a passive investment of $1 million, approximately 98% of small businesses from coast to coast to coast are unaffected with that proposed change? That this change will only impact literally less than 2% of CCPCs across Canada, that their local restaurant, the local bakery, the plumber are all unaffected, and that this measure will is based on tax fairness and will grow the economy to incentivize capital to be put to work.
You know, I don't think we can say it often enough. 100% of small businesses in this country will be positively impacted by a reduction in the small business tax rate. So every single business that earns $500,000 or less in annual profits will have a lower small business tax rate. It will go down on January 1st, 2018. It will go down again on January 1st, 2019. For the 1.7% of those private corporations that are shielding significant income and passive investments, yes, they may go over that $1 million in future, but let's think about that. First of all, every single investment in any small business that's existing there right now will be protected. Nobody will be having any change tax situation on any investments they've accumulated in their private corporation, and it's only in future that they will be able to continue to invest up to roughly $1 million. Before then, they would probably decide to instead put money into an RSP or a TFSA. So we found a balance that ensures every small business will have lower taxes, and that for almost all businesses, that they will continue to be able to invest in passive investments to assure their retirement or maternity leave, and that we will end up with more investment in active businesses because it will be advantageous for businesses to do so, especially at the lower rate.
Okay, we'll turn to 5-minute rounds, and Mr. Albert.